Hello, मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. I know exams are coming up, and you were all studying so hard. So to make things a little easier and a lot more fun, let's go on a special tour today. We're going to leave the boring textbook behind and explore the amazing, incredible world of Cell City. So, before we start any trip, we need a map, right? Here's our plan for today. We'll start with a big welcome to Cell City. Then we'll see the two main types of cities. After that, we'll take a deep dive into the big metropolis, visit a very special green zone, and then, most importantly, we'll do a super fast revision to get you totally ready for your exams. Chalo, let's go. So, what exactly is this Cell City I'm talking about? Well, think about it this way. You know how a big building is made of thousands of tiny bricks? It's the same for all living things. You, me, a tiny little ant, even a huge banyan tree. We are all made of cells. They are the basic, fundamental building blocks of life, the smallest possible unit that we can say is truly alive. And we have to thank some really brilliant scientists for this knowledge. Can you imagine? Leeuwenhoek was the very first person to see a live cell moving around under his simple microscope. Then came Robert Brown, who found that dark spot inside, the nucleus. After them, Schleiden and Schwann put it all together and gave us the cell theory. And finally, Rudolf Virchow added the final, very important piece, that all new cells can only come from cells that already exist. Okay, so just like in our world, we have small, simple villages and we have these huge, complex cities, right? Well, it's pretty much the same in the world of cells. There are two main kinds of cell cities. The simple ones, which we call prokaryotic, and the much more complex ones, which we call eukaryotic. Now, this slide makes the main difference super clear, and this is what you really need to remember. The simple village, the prokaryotic cell, it doesn't have a proper city hall or nucleus. All its important genetic information is just floating around. But the big metropolis, the eukaryotic cell, is super organized. It has a proper nucleus running the show, and lots of different departments, or organelles, that each have a special job to do. Okay, let's dive in. Our main tour of the big city, the eukaryotic cell, starts right now. Put on your seatbelts, Butchone, because this is where all the real action is happening. First stop, the city limits. Every city needs a boundary wall with security guards, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly the job of the cell membrane. It surrounds the whole cell, protecting it. And it's really smart. It's selectively permeable, which just means it's like a strict security guard that decides who gets to come in and who has to stay out. And have a look at this. This is the famous fluid mosaic model. See how it's made of two layers of lipids? The proteins are kind of like boats floating in this lipid sea. And here's the key part. It's fluid. It's not a hard, stiff wall. This flexibility is what allows the cell to grow, to change its shape, and even to divide. It's a dynamic, living boundary. All right, now we're at the most important building in the whole city. The nucleus. This is the main control center, the big boss. You can think of it like the principal's office in a school. It controls every single thing that happens inside the cell. And why? Because it holds the master blueprint for the entire city, the DNA. Now, inside the nucleus, the DNA is usually all tangled up in these long threads called chromatin. But when it's time for the cell to divide and make a copy of itself, this chromatin gets super organized. It winds itself up tightly into these X-shaped structures that we call chromosomes. So neat and tidy. A city can't run without electricity, can it? Of course not. And that's where the mighty mitochondria come in. This is the powerhouse of our cell city. It takes in food and oxygen, and through a process called respiration, it creates energy. This energy is stored in a special molecule called ATP, which is like the battery that powers everything in the cell. And if we look inside the powerhouse, check this out. See how the inner membrane has all these folds? These are called cristae. Now, why do you think they are there? It's to increase the surface area. More surface area means more space for making more and more energy. So clever, isn't it? Okay, let's move on. Now we're at the city's huge transport network and factory complex. It's called the endoplasmic reticulum, or just ER for short. It's like a massive network of interconnected roads and tunnels that spreads all throughout the city. And on this highway, you'll find two different kinds of factories. First is the rough ER. It's called rough because it's covered in these tiny little dots called ribosomes, and its job is to make proteins. Then you have the smooth ER. No dots, so it's smooth. And its job is to make lipids or fats. So two different factories working on the same highway system. So, the factories are making all these proteins and lipids. But where do they go next? Well, they all get sent to the Golgi apparatus. This is like the city's main post office or a courier service. It takes the stuff from the ER, does a little modification, sorts it all out, and then packs it into little parcels to be sent to exactly where they need to go. Okay, quick quiz time for my brilliant students. Let's see if you were paying attention. Which part of our city is responsible for generating all the power? Is it A, B, C, or D? I'll give you a second. Got it? If you chose C, the mitochondrion, you are absolutely right. Shabash. Now, our tour is taking a little detour. We are now entering a very special area that you will only find in plant cell cities. Animal cell cities, like the ones in our bodies, don't have this zone at all. Let's find out what makes them so unique. This slide is super important for your exams, Bacho. It clearly shows the three main differences you have to remember. Plant cells have an extra strong outer layer called the cell wall for extra support. They have a huge central vacuole, which is like a giant water tank. And they have these special green organelles called chloroplasts. The chloroplast is probably the most amazing part of the whole plant city. It's like a solar power plant. It has a green pigment inside called chlorophyll, which is amazing at trapping energy from sunlight. It then uses the solar energy to make food for the entire plant. And this magical process, as you all know, is called photosynthesis. Okay, my dear students, our tour of Cell City is coming to an end, and your exams are getting very close. So it's time for a super quick, lightning-fast revision of the most important things we learned today. Pay very close attention. If you can just remember these key points, you will do great. So let's lock them in. First, cell is the basic unit of life. Simple. Second, prokaryotic is simple, no nucleus. Eukaryotic is complex, has a nucleus. Third, mitochondria is the powerhouse. Fourth, nucleus is the boss, the control center. Fifth, plant cells have those three special things: cell wall, chloroplasts, and a big vacuole. And one bonus point, ribosomes are the tiny protein factories. All right, let's try a typical question from your textbook. Which one is correct? Let's check them one by one. A, all living organisms have a nucleus. Is that true? Nahi, we learned about prokaryotes, so that's wrong. B, both animal and plant cells have a cell wall. Galat, only plant cells do. Okay, what about D? Cells are formed from abiotic materials? No way. We know what Virchow said. So that leaves only one. The correct answer is C. In prokaryotes, there are no membrane-bound organelles. See? Easy. You've got this. And let's end our tour with this very famous, very important line from Rudolf Virchow. Omnis cellula e cellula. It's Latin, and it simply means all cells arise from pre-existing cells. It's such a beautiful and simple way to summarize the continuity of life itself. And that's a wrap on our tour of Cell City. You are all absolute superstars, and I have zero doubt that you are going to rock your biology exam. Keep studying with this same amazing energy. And here's a final thought to leave you with. If a single cell is like a whole city, just imagine what other incredible, complex worlds exist inside each and every one of us. Think about that. I'll see you in the next explainer. Bye-bye, Bacho.